one of the things that you said in that video was you said something about how was it you spend like 70% of your time working and 30% of your time like partying?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Pretty much.
So a lot of people have this mindset of like grind 100%, work all the time. What inspired the fact that you want to give 30% into that leisure? Because we're living in a very toxic world where it's very like accepted for people to be that. Where like I've ran into a lot of things where like people, they don't want themselves or anybody else to even have fun because they're like that fun is taken away from the money they could be making, which I obviously heavily disagree with. It's like horrible to see that way, but like what inspired you to go like that direction where you actually spend, not only do you spend 30% of your time partying, but you say you spend 20% of all money you make.
Bro, because then you just end up like a fucking loser.
Yeah.
Like, bro, then you just end up like trying to save $5 on coffee.
Oh, that's the worst.
And you're like a multimillionaire. And like, bro, the thing is, I get it, you know, and like, you know, for example, like I've said this before, people are like, oh, shots at Graham Stephan. And I'm like, no, not necessarily. Like, bro, do whatever you want. Like, if you're actually like that, because the thing is, like, even when it comes to like minimalism, right? Like, either you're full minimalism or you're not, right? And there's no, like, you can't be in between. And some people might look at, you know, someone who's minimalistic and they have so few possessions and be like, that's ridiculous. Why don't you add extra sort of comforts into your life? Well, then that you have to be one or the other. And the same thing like frugal, you know, people who are frugal, you can't, you know, usually it's sort of like black and white. For me, I just don't want to live like that personally. You know, like for me, like frugal people are like, you know, I guess also like even my mom kind of instilled that in me. Like frugal people who don't need to be frugal are, for me, is like one of the most unattractive things on earth.
I agree.
You know, because I believe it's a mental illness, like a genuine mental illness, because it's like it's one of two things. Either you don't believe in your ability to earn more money, because the thing is like my mom had to be frugal because she knew you know, bless her, she's an amazing woman, but like, dude, you know, we were between government benefits, which is like welfare in America at some point. You know, she was working at Harrods, which is a very nice store, but minimum wage in the fucking perfume section. Right. You know, and temporary summer jobs. And I remember 3 summers in a row, she would come home crying because they didn't give her a full-time job, and fuck me, we needed the money. Or NHS, you know, Chelsea Westminster Hospital, once again, minimum wage, which is like the government, NHS is like the government, free government healthcare. Obviously, you wouldn't know anything about that. Nope. So, yeah, you know, like for her, she had to be frugal because she knew she wasn't going to make enough money, right? So either you genuinely don't believe you're going to make more money, or you're just stuck in such a perpetual fear, scarcity mindset. And for me, a man who's scared is just, I don't respect them. Yeah. I'm like, I see a man who's scared, I'm like, you're not, you know, you don't feel like you're well equipped for life. So yeah.
Well, even Rich Dad Poor Dad talks about that in the book. The Rich Dad says, don't forget the number one most forgotten law of money. I think it's the law of reciprocity, where like, if you try to hold on to all your money, then the natural state of the universe doesn't allow that money to keep coming in because you're holding on to it. I've been asking myself this question lately. It's like, I don't know, what I find more annoying is someone who, like, what's like more annoying to hear is like someone bragging about how much money they saved or how much money they spent, you know, and that like I always say, I'd rather be around people. I'd rather be in conversations about the best of things, like people talking about where they can get the best, say like hotels, watches, Airbnbs, than the best deals. Yeah. Like those are two very different groups. Fuck that. I grew up in the best deal. Like it was always the best deal. Where can we get the best deal? But now it's just like, there's so much of life out there. I'd rather experience the best of life than trying to find the best deals of life, you know?
Yeah. And also the thing is, my percentages are going to change. Like for example, even like the 70-30 play business, when I'm between the ages of 28 and 38, that's going to be more 70% play, 30% work. And even my spending habits right now in my 20s, like up until sort of like the age of like 26, 28, I'm doing 20, 25 a spend and doing 75, 80% save and invest, right? Once I get to sort of 26 to 28, that's going to go more to like spend 35% or spend 30%, save 70%. Once I get to like 32, that's going to get to like 40, 60. Once I get to basically as sort of each 5 years, my spending percentage is going to go up because my nest egg is going to keep growing and growing and growing. And the thing is, I plan on dying with zero money.
There you
So
go.
at some point, I'm going to have to spend all of it fucking anyways. And I'd rather spend it in my 30s than in my 60s. And I'm not leaving anything for my kids, well, or at least for my son, if I have one.
Right.
My daughter will get stuff.